like Xantares, and it's a best of one. And I mean, Major and Paz, I mean, pretty much everyone on Space Soldiers, you know, they started to all show how good they are individually. That can be enough, you know, if you get a good start and you're able to, you know, make the right calls, you can get a really, really big lead. But enough of the chatter about that, because it's time for the action to do the chatter for us, as Space Soldiers and Rogue will kick off the FACEIT London Major here in Twickenham.
We're about to see some exploitation. Hashtag sweatshop. Look out for hardstyle. See how things go. And if he's playing a common position on the T side, we may see some aggressive pop flashes as well, but that remains to be seen. First, it's the pistol to come. Xantares having a look. See, look at that headshot immediately. Sick with one jiggle peek too many. Still alive, however. Two players towards that B bomb site. Ricky's got, well, Ricky and Cadian have a lot of grenades here, which may be saved for retake purposes. Sick finished off now, and Ricky has limited information.
Ricky, what does he do here? It's going to rotate back in towards the site, use his smoke grenade to perhaps delay them, or perhaps he'll hold on to it for now. And, well, there goes the smoke grenade and the flash. In fact, that smoke could potentially be picked up if it was the last one he was holding on to by the T's. And Rogue, oh, this is a rough one. It's a pistol round, though, so often you just want to go for these.
They have
headshots.
A kit at least.
That's all that matters.
There was a Ricky never threw his smoke. I don't know if the T's used it or if they picked it up. Either way, there is a smoke towards that banana position. Now it's a 5-on-3 hold for Space Soldiers. They've got Heat and Potty set up on the site as well. Hardstyle just shoulder peeking, allowing his teammates to come and use that numbers game, really abusing the power there. And now they're in a 3 versus 1. And there's not much Cadian can do but make a little money towards the end. That will allow him to buy a scout if he wants. If you full buy, be it Kevlar or otherwise, you need a kill basically to buy a scout in the second round. But on Inferno, might not be, have as much mileage as you might find on a Cash or a Mirage.
And that's the start you want if you're the team with this stand-in, and you know you can start to take control of the match. They've got the double mag, triple mag 10s coming out from Space Soldiers, and that's a lot of fun. And they'll be up against the Force Buy, and they're going to know that that's very likely. Force Buys on the CT side of Inferno can work out quite well for the CT side, not as bad as on some maps. And for the T side, you really want to make sure that you keep things very tight and simple. You don't want to give too much time for the CTs to create opportunities, as we're seeing them do so here, sneaking through the apps. Oh, this is brilliant.
This is if this team can stay alive, and now they've seen Cadian go back. Do they assume the rest of the apps might be compromised? Paz most certainly does, and that is a very nice piece taken off the board for Space Soldiers early. And as things start to slow down, I do expect that Hardstyle may play a role as Daps would on the T side in terms of utility, in the sense that he'll always take the worst weapon and enable his team with the rifles and so on, and basically be a money bank if he can for his team. Also, can we quickly note that Mr. Connor, Mr. Sliggy, is observing his first major, finally. So just bear that in mind. He's really good at showing the build-up of a round, so it won't just be about frags.
And he's always been very critical of observing in majors, so he can take as good as he gives. So
yeah, tweet him some smack.
Yeah, if you don't think he's doing a good job,
former Toxic Source player.
Ooh. In they go though, and that's going to be that. This is a great round from Space Soldiers. They did it in a way which was safe. You know, as you said, you know, Paz was able to be very cautious there about the apps, and it almost did look like, from the T's perspective, oh, you know, you see one CT pushing, they didn't see the next one, but they still had the presence of mind to know that that is a possibility, and that's really good to see that level of focus from Space Soldiers, because let's not forget that they were sitting here for an hour waiting for this game to start, as well as we had those technical difficulties. So that can be a bit draining sometimes, but they are here to play, and we have a pretty clean round. And this is nice from Rogue too. They're going to try to salvage what they can into that next round where they do have to save.
For those of you on Go TV, I would recommend, assuming Cadian's going to be the primary sniper, I would recommend Cadian on the CT side. And I mean, I think Xantares is an easy pick, but it's like when Snax was on Virtus Pro. Often I'll just get roasted on Twitter whenever I didn't pick him. So I'll say Xantares as well. But I'm a fan of Calyx I would like to see what he can do when he's got the AK out. But they'll continue for now with the MAC-10s, as this is likely to be, I was going to say likely to be mostly a USP round, but of course we've got some saves from the round prior. So this is still a dangerous round for Space Soldiers, and that's something to remember. A lot of times you can take this round for granted if you wipe out the CTs 2 rounds in a row, but if you don't do that, they could have more than USPs as they do here.
And one cool thing with the way that Space Soldiers played that previous round is that they played this sort of anti-force by default, which allows them to get information, to apply pressure with good timings, so they don't have too little information going into the late round and then have problems. And with all of that information, they're able to then make a really good decision as to how to use those MAC-10s to confirm, okay, our suspicion is that this side of the map is more clear. Let's use a MAC-10 player to confirm that and push some of the more dangerous choke points. And then, so they're playing in a very safe and very sure way. They're not taking gambles here. And so this is beautiful from Space Soldiers. It looks simple, but it is hard to get a team to execute these kinds of rounds this flawlessly.
Clearing out the long position. Got to be aware that people could still be library, which is now getting smoked off. So they'll split from both directions with a player in the balcony area. No one left isolated on short, and they will see that no one is here at all. In the meantime, there is containment from Major. He's been flashed with. He tried to position himself to avoid what he could, but the flash was high, the panel was small, and he will get taken out. But there's a warning, and now Calix will start to make some money lining up for him, but the numbers are too great. Paz, does he go for the continuation spray? He needs to avoid getting the one dig, but he can't. Oh, sick with the CZ, in fact. So perhaps a rifle is to be collected by these players. And 3 players still alive. Actually, only Sick has Kevlar, so the rest will need to buy regardless. But we'll see if Rogue can get anything else out of this now. Rikke has picked up a MAC-10. He can try to be aggressive with this, but he is at the bottom of mid, so a frag may be unlikely at this point, as it seems the last 2 players will save on the site. 3-0 start for Space Soldiers. Now the game begins.
Yeah, good discipline from Rogue, and they got quite fortunate there. You expect that the MAC-10s would have, the first 2 MAC-10s to engage on Banana would have been able to do more damage, and then that AK will come in at the end, maybe dies, but everyone's pretty much been cleaned up at that point anyway. So that's a great result from Rogue, and they get to have a little bit of extra cash going into this one. They've got the AWP now onto Cadian, he was saving, of course, and a good amount of grenades. And Rikke's going to hold on to the MAC-10, which they didn't have to. He could have had a rifle here. As we can see, Sick has 3100 in the bank. So we'll have to see how that one turns out for Rikke. How aggressive will Cadian go with the AWP to begin with, keeping things nice and simple and slow. Commanding angle on middle, though. Space Soldiers begin with some light banana pressure. Both teams quite tentative to begin with.
Very interested to see how this MAC-10 plays out. All based on position, of course. It is being played over towards the B bomb site, so perhaps a flash for a smoke and something can get done. And you can see Rikke playing close quarters. Essentially a double peak situation. He has a fair chance of avoiding a flashbang because he's playing a pretty tight angle. And there's one. Xantares completely blind, got a wrong angle. Rikke doesn't go for the AK, not being greedy. He would be very exposed if he went wider. And you can't imagine that Xantares is there on his own. Although he's making his way over towards the A site with only a MAC-10. How much additional power does he provide? They've smoked off top mid now, which is maybe going to send Space Soldiers back towards B. But Sick's there on his own.
Yeah, 40 seconds less than to go. And Space Soldiers will have to work with what they have, and that's the B push. Sick sitting in the fountain with the fishes, and it will be a very devastating defense. 2 quick headshots from Sick, 25 seconds to go. Has he done enough damage? 2 players here for Space Soldiers to try to plant the bomb, and it's very awkward for them. Eventually, Hardstyle is going to get that plant going. Major. Oh, they've stopped the plant, and they will finish off the rest of Space Soldiers. That will be the first round. The first buy round for Rogue going their way, and they survive with 3 players. Doesn't get too much more ideal than that.
Rikke gets a little bonus money with the SMG kill, and they go straight for the double AWPs. This will be very interesting indeed. And Rikke is very capable with the sniper rifle. He is basically a sniper, but of course he's being more nimble, more dynamic, with more than one sniper on a team, which he is no stranger to of late. So let's see how this works out. Very different setup now on the B bomb site. I wonder if there can be an indication for Space Soldiers as to what they might be doing towards B with an aggressive take-off Banana. Because ideally you want to set up to clear Banana to get that AWP into position, as you often see Device, for example, standing on the half wall. But with flashes, Rogue will be forced away. Now, this is an angle. Sometimes you see people standing on the rail of the stairs to throw a flash towards Banana. But it seems maybe he was holding in case of a re-aggression. 1 minute mark is approaching, and Space Soldiers have Banana and 2 players around apartments and top mid.
Space Soldiers looking for that opening. Putting pressure on all sides of the map, and Ricky goes out for a re-peek, seeing what's going on here towards top Banana. Xantares with a fairly deep angle, and if there is to be a flashbang from Hostile for him, then perhaps he can go for a nice peek. But Ricky with a lovely angle will deal with that, no problem. And that is going to put the pressure on for Space Soldiers. 30 seconds as they start to move into top mid. That's all they have to work with.
I'm sure Xantares must have heard 6 rotation, which maybe got him to peak in the first place, but they're still going to press towards the A side regardless. Nice flick from Cadian. Sees one more player, but there are 2 on Arch. There's Hardstyle continuing forward, but only so much he can do. It's down to Calyx. 1 versus 2 now. 10 seconds, and Sick will win the fight. The bomb won't get planted once more. And Rogue saved the 2 AWPs. That was a curious small situation there, where Xantares started to crab walk, maybe not expecting Ricky in that position, but Sick ran towards the A site from the front of B, and I really feel like that must have been an earshot, which of course may have played a part in Xantares peaking with that timing, but it would have been a long rotation to try and go against that sniper, and maybe they would have been heard top mid, so press on towards A, doesn't work, and there is a tactical timeout. The money's not fantastic for Space Soldiers after a nice start. You can see the which way the rounds have gone at the top. So we can see Space Soldiers won the first 3 rounds. So when I look at a match, I always think the first 3 rounds are cool, give you an advantage. But for me, it's like a 0-0 from the first buy round. So for me, it's like 2-0. In terms of who is being successful in the match, right now, for me, it's 2-0 Rogue, and they have momentum. And now they've got some money. They can still be broken, but we don't expect Space Soldiers to buy in a round such as this.
Yeah, just keeping things light. And I like that they've gotten some grenades. Hostile's picked up a MAC-10. He's actually spent all of his cash, I think. Only player to do so. Yeah. And we'll have loads of nades here. I wonder, what is the plan? This is really cool, because if the Space Soldiers have bought like this, specifically with this many grenades, and a round such as this, they have to have a plan. This has to be some sort of a drill.
I think there are 2 schools of thought here. One is obviously win the round, but the second one is 2 players survived the previous round. The money's not great for the CTs. Even if we don't win this round, if we can do some significant damage on our next buy round, if we win, they're on eco straight away.
Yeah, and balcony pops can be very strong if you have grenades to work with them. And, you know, Rogue, they expect to see a save in this round. They don't know exactly what Space Soldiers will be up to, so this could be very powerful. Even if the CTs throw some counter grenades, Space Soldiers with those pistols will gain space very quickly if the grenades are on point. We're about to see how well this routine is going to serve them. Hiko with the pre-fire there is going to be very effective. That's the bomb dropped on the balcony. Things not going well at all. Hiko holding things down very effectively. It does not seem like there's anything the Space Soldiers can do. It was a great idea, but Hiko, he heard the running and he knew what to do.
Shut it down. It's really awkward if you're on the T side and there's a smoke on the balcony, because you can body block as well. I mean, it's more useful. I think the smoke was maybe supposed to go in the door slightly more, because with that timing, if the smoke goes inside, Hiko can just stand or crouch in front of the smoke, and they have to run through the smoke. He will see them, and he will trap them there. So if he stands in front of the smoke, he'll body block them, he will see them, they won't see him, and it's just free. Everything is free, unless he gets shot in the head at random. So that could have looked even worse for Space Soldiers, but again, they got no mileage out of that whatsoever. So both Plan A and Plan B didn't quite work out for them, but they're on the buy regardless. And again, Hardstyle will take the worst weapon. Gambles were made, didn't pay off. And Major's been kicked in apps with a P250 to kick things off, or is it a P2000? Whatever it is. It's a 3 versus 5 very quickly.
Yeah, Rogue are really recovering from some of the losses that they've had in the previous rounds. This is looking so clean right now. It's desperation here for Space Soldiers. Such a big question mark on how they can possibly get into one of these bomb sites. Hiko's been anchoring very effectively up until this point. And we have no reason to doubt him just yet. And 4 players will be stood to attention for this A push. Everything is covered here right now. Cadian with another whiff. That does give an opening here. Paz going for that frag. 45 seconds, and Rogue can rotate everybody. It's quite telegraphed, but they have to get the kills. These Rogue players, and Hiko once again delivers.
Beautiful. Goes for the wide peak. Had a bait set up with his teammate on double stack if he wanted it, but he was confident, and playing with confidence is fantastic, especially in the first match of a major. And we are happy to see the return of Hiko to majors, and somewhat of a comeback for Cadian as well. Upward trajectory, pretty good. The same could be said for Rikke, without a team for a while, having a chat with him at breakfast this morning over some poached eggs. 4 rounds in a row now for Rogue. So again, for all intents and purposes, consider it 4-0 in terms of momentum. A cheeky jump from Cadian. He knows where the money's at. So he'll go for a brazen peek and a flick. And there goes Calix.
It's a tough start, isn't it, for Space Soldiers, despite them getting what could have been a good start, you know, with the pistol victory and 2 clean anti-ecos. Life is looking quite difficult. And as you said, you know, we haven't really seen Space Soldiers with any effective approach so far. And Rogue, look at the confidence here. Just so happy to just push for these frags, not afraid at all of these pistols. And that is what you want to see. Some damage being done, though. Xantares gets himself a headshot. And that's a 2v3 with an AK collected. Can he turn this into something? He's got no Kevlar.
Now this is awkward for Rogue. One of these sites is going to have 1 player on. It's a gamble for Space Soldiers, but they've got a smoke but no flashes, so they've just got to run into the Gatling gun. But Rikke only fires 1 bullet at a time because only 1 is enough. Re-peeking another comfortable position, a Fox-esque location. Walking forward though, can he strafe cancel in time to take out Paz? He can! Straight in the face no less on the crouch peek. And that's 3 players surviving for Rogue. Could have been worse for them. But that's a comfortable W, ultimately. Now let's see what Space Soldiers can do. And again, not knowing how much Hardstyle plays the game in general, and even if he plays it here and there, you can't expect him to know the grenades, for example. And I'm sure before each map they'll have a quick drill and say, okay, these are the grenades you need to know. But if you need to throw something on the fly, there's a fair chance he won't be able to do that. So there are a lot of limitations in like mid-round potentially for Space Soldiers if they lose a person here or there.
It's definitely a tough spot, isn't it?
And that kind of thing requires extra comms as well. So like, can you throw this? Oh, I'm not sure about that one. That's like, that's crucial time where you could be doing something else. That's crucial time where the CTs could be moving into better positions. Time you can't afford to take, trying to figure out what you can achieve right now. But in that sense, we saw great coordination from Rogue with Rikke holding the angle towards logs while his teammate cleared out everything to the left-hand side of Banana while the smoke was down.
This is cool, isn't it? Rogue going for a push. We haven't seen them do this just yet, and it's a big effort on Banana from Space Soldiers. The timing for Rogue could work out very well with this push down middle, and they're actually going to stop short around the bench position with a setup between Cadian, who can bait for Vice. So this is brilliant. Vice can hear all that action on Banana as well. Paz looking to just push straight in. This could be a way out here for Space Soldiers if they can just somehow barrel down the defense on that B side.
Oh,
but that is the bomb in the back, and the smoke forward in front of it will cause all kinds of problems here for Space Soldiers. Oh dear.
Well, we've seen this before as well, but this time it looks even worse. I think it was a game with FaZe, but the flashbangs will rescue them, and the bomb's been taken away. However, there is 1 player in construction. The CT's now spreading out around second mid, and Cadian rotating, going up Speedway. There are no smokes to clear this position, which will compromise the post-plant areas for Space Soldiers. They've got 1 flash, and they choose to take it. Oh, that's going to flash Calix as well. That was a massive frag, and it will come in. Now 2 players up Banana. Xantares must deliver here, and they've made it a lot easier. The bomb has been planted, and now we're down to a 4 versus 2. Do they keep going, Rogue?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? How's the money situation for Rogue right now? It's not too shabby. And, you know, in saving these 2 guns, if they're able to do so, you know, they'll be in good stead still to keep the pressure on in the following rounds. And Cadian whittling down the survivors, or what could be the survivors here. That's 2 taken down by Cadian. What else can he find? They'll be looking for this frag as he crosses. And there's a missed shot. Cadian looking to go back to the well with that one. And, of course, the bomb will do the job for him. And that's a decent result there for Rogue, all things considered. But I'm surprised that after that quick flank from Vice, the Space Soldiers were able to get back into the round.
That was almost disaster. Nice correction from Paz. That was an awkward spot for him. But yeah, that scenario around construction was so important. Calyx peeking just a little too early, eating the flashbang, which saves Ricke for a second, but he can't get out of there in time. But again, Rogue decided, okay, let's go for damage, and they killed all but 1. So they'll be satisfied with the best of a bad scenario in that respect. Both teams on the buy again. Now Rogue have spent most of their money. Again, there is that flash. Just something to learn at home. Just a simple jump flash. Doesn't have to be anything special. So if anyone's towards that car position, for example, then it will allow your teammates to peek. But you will want to do it delayed, because if there is a sniper there, they're likely to take a shot and then fall back. So if you peek immediately, you might eat it anyway. Just like that.
Lots of presence here. Space Soldiers perhaps going with what works. That quick B push was a gem last round, looking to get it going this time. Ricke starts things off well, has to do it all. 2 quick ones from him, that's all he can get for his side, as the Space Soldiers will plant their flag firmly on the B-bomb site, take control. And that bomb is now ticking away. 3v3 though, definitely opportunities here for Rogue.
Hiko looking for a potential flank, but all 3 players are on site, and they're looking at the radar. They're almost playing the same position. 2 in the dark spot and 1 on new box. That's Xantares. Our player has moved forward, and Space Soldiers move into more aggressive positions, maybe expecting a save. We've got a player near construction now. This is not really committed. Vice getting a kill. They need to save these weapons now, Rogue, because only 2 people saved from the previous round. So I don't know if they can afford for 1 play to be lost, but in Vice they trust, and once again Space Soldiers get wrecked. They've won the round though, and that's important. 2 rounds in a row now for Space Soldiers. They've got some momentum, but again, both teams at this point are being kept poor, so one of these rounds will be a swing round where someone's going towards Ecotown.
Yeah, and I really don't know what to expect from Space Soldiers moving into that CT side on the second half. So I don't know necessarily, you know, if they're going to feel like, okay, we've got 5-6 rounds on this T side, you know, we're feeling really comfortable onto that CT side. Obviously, you always want to win as many as you possibly can, but, you know, for Rogue, as you say, you know, they're on the ropes too here. And MAC-10s, Galil, they have full grenades, and I do like how Space Soldiers do prioritize grenades on their T side. Ooh, leg shot connected by Cadian. Hardstyle is going to survive. He has to count his lucky stars to survive that one. And things slow down. Both teams, well, in fact, a huge grenade advantage for Space Soldiers, despite the weapon disadvantage.
Will we see a balcony burst? Xantares, Calyx is in mid. He's got 2 flashbangs, and Xantares has 1 as well. So slightly forward of where Calyx is probably where he's going to throw a flash for the balcony burst, but seems they're not quite sure if a player is waiting for them there. They'll try to establish some presence towards Banana, but smokes will be used. So, will it be the balcony burst? They start to creep forward. Major with an aggressive smoke, and let's see what they choose to do. Again, it's awkward. It's so deep on the balcony that the body block option isn't really an option, because it could be just the 1 person here, and most coming on short. Flashbang, Seiko falling down to the balcony. 5 spots, 1 on short. Raises Lam, he's going back to top mid. Why is he going there? Well, he's actually dead now, and that is a wipeout. The bomb on the floor. 27 seconds left. 5 versus 2, and Space Soldiers maybe just left to run to their doom now. It's looking like hard labor here. Insta trades, and they'll finish off the job, Rogue. I don't know what the deal was with the run up top mid, maybe thinking that they caught the CTs by surprise, but it seems they were quite prepared for that once the smoke went down.
Yeah, that's That's pretty odd. Definitely a misread by Space Soldiers. Opportunities were had there, as you said. Previously an issue with the balcony pop was Hiko standing too close, and they dealt with that with the positioning of the smoke grenades, forced him back. They flashed aside effectively, and then sort of just gave up on the window that they had to make the frags happen. So that's a shame, and looks like aggression here from Rogue and from Space Soldiers with those CZs looking to rush into that B bomb site. There's the open. What can Sick do? 1 versus 5. There's a quick double from Sick, and 3. Okay, that's a pretty good result for Rogue.
2 easy frags as they look towards CT spawn. No bomb plant just yet. In an exposed position, got to wait for the spray to go, but now maybe the chances have gone to plant that bomb, and Hiko will finish things off with a high explosive. Going back to that previous round though, the CT on the side, he sees the T moving up towards top mid, but he just lets him go because he's moving into a non-threatening position. He wants to focus on the guys who are moving into threatening positions from that balcony area. So, but the speed at which he does that just gives you an example of the decision-making that these pro players will do. So I just want to highlight that because that was a cool decision. That's not the most important frag in that situation, and he made that decision very, very quickly indeed. Now we have a well-equipped Rogue versus an almost unequipped Space Soldiers at this point. We're not really seeing those HEs bouncing into the pits area that we saw. They were trendy for a short time, but almost never got the results they deserved.
Yeah, I mean, it is right now quite difficult, it seems, for Space Soldiers to get anything working at all. All those HE plays are really cool, and it seems like that's like a nice sort of flourish to add to an otherwise very solid game. And right now, it seems like a struggle for Space Soldiers to even sort of put together a well-executed push on the A side at the very least. B is more simplistic, and I wonder if we'll see more B play. I mean, Space Soldiers, they've only so far really had success breaking into that B bomb site. Every time they've gone towards A, it's been a disaster. And running those longer rounds with the defaults and trying to play for map control has also been difficult. And part of that's because Rogue have been very happy to challenge. Rogue have been showing that they've wanted to be aggressive down middle, down banana, down towards second mid. So Rogue are they have a very strong presence on the map at the moment as the CT side.
Back on the buy, back on the AKs. Hello. It can be an awkward peak when you know someone's in pit, because they can make you miss your shot and go a little wide. Can Cadian survive in this situation though? See, there's a delay with a jiggle pick from Paz. He's waiting for his teammates to catch up for a trade frag. Not required though, but White will take him out eventually. Smoke on Arch now. They'd probably seen the bomb at this point on the radar, but they could go back towards CT and B, which is why Ricket's forced to retreat. Everything's slowing down, and now the T's have the sights.
Head stop for Hiko. Finds one, can't connect on the second head. What can Ricky do with an AWP? He can't really do too much, can he, from this position? And it was good juking against Cadian in the 1v1 to prevent Cadian from making a second kill. But, it's definitely, I think, in the minors, I saw Cadian be much more consistent. And, if it was the Cadian from the minors, I would have expected to see probably at least 2 or 3 frags there, and which would have made a big difference. But at the same time, it's early days, and they're getting, used to the setup here once again early in the morning. So we'll see if Kenny can warm up. Rogue otherwise are playing very well. And Space Soldiers are having to resort repeatedly to these fast plays. That's really, simplifying things with the fast rounds where you just have good trade spacing. That seems to be really where Space Soldiers are able to get the round wins here. All the other possibilities for them winning rounds has not really gone all that well.
I do wonder if there is a Ring Rust equivalent specifically for LAN matches. Because you saw, it looks like our stats page was broken because they didn't have enough statistics in the previous 3 months to populate most of those fields. Cadian at the point of no return, but Vice trying to hold him down, but that is an early pick for Space Soldiers. 1-for-1 will benefit the T side. With so much time on the clock as well, you'll see the legs of one player moving forward can raise the alarm. Now we see Sick making his way towards that A site.
Cadian's got to deliver here for his team, and Ooh, he's not having a good time of it. Sort of committing vice in defending him early on, and Space Soldiers ran with that momentum. 3v3 retake onto this A site.
This is a nice angle for Cadian. He can see a little bit through the smoke. Now, from that position, you want to see if any T's cross towards that pit area. He can't see somebody jumps off the balcony, but sometimes gambles have to be made. Now they start to charge in. One down per side. Molotov's flying through. Sick has a defuse kit, and here he is. Now it's down to Xantares, the one and only. There is a kit gone. Rikke, time to save now. The bomb's too far ticked, but he's committing to this with the AWP. What? I don't know how he managed to do that. He's picked up a kit as well. Has he got time though? Surely not!
Oh, that was close. That was a close one. I have no idea how Rikke hit that shot moving forwards, but he did. Gave them a slight opportunity, but it will be 7 rounds in the end for Space Soldiers. A very laboured 7 rounds, and without that pistol win, you dread to think what may have been the score for them. Rogue sitting somewhat comfortably on 8, but with a lot of work to do on this T side.
That was fast. Oh, of course, it's the last round. That's why it's going for. Hello, I'm back in the room. First game of the day. So, yeah, that's a quick tip. If you can, if you're towards that arch position with an AWP and you can't really push forward because you're waiting for teammates to rotate, if you can hold a line so you know that the Ts haven't got that pit position, then that is much valuable, very valuable information for a retake if all your guys are coming from the arch position, for example. But also, it's a nice angle to hold if people are crossing because you can shoot them, as Cadian managed to do with that slight gap in the smoke. So there we are. 8-7, Rogue are 1 round ahead, and now I wonder if the CT side will be easy for Space Soldiers. But again, is it going to be a case of find out where Hardstyle's playing? Let's go for Hardstyle. He is currently 1-for-12 at the moment. So ooh, we've got an overdose of statistics there. But yeah, he's 1-for-12. So that bodes well for Rogue. But let's see what he can do. Maybe he'll have an easier time of things on the CT side. And again, many of those rounds, he was ill-equipped with a MAC-10, even on the buy round, so we won't get too carried away with those stats. All of Rogue now on Banana in their T-pistol round.
Keeping it simple. The B burst is afoot. Xantares doesn't quite get the engagement he wants. Calyx forced out from the flames. Major, will they check for him? Another player in this close position. He will be dealt with very easily. A shallow grave for him now as Xantares is helpless behind that smoke. Can't do anything. And Katie with a very close position. Good for the one. Gets the info, but Paz strikes again. And now maybe Xantares can finally get himself in there. He will. Quick headshot onto Vice, leaving Rikke in the 1 versus 2. They don't know exactly where he is just yet. Has the USP. Needs to make these shots count. Given his position up now as they start to close in on him. Rikke can't get it done. It's Xantares for the 3rd one. Very patient. Very patient, but he makes it work in the end.
That is a huge win for Space Soldiers. Let's see what Rogue choose to do. Will there be a surprise force buy, perhaps? Paz with some nice work. Xantares, it's so fun to just watch his POV because the way he moves his mouse around and aim is very mechanical and pretty nutty. I mean, what do you think about it, Dan? As you're an aiming nerd, if you will, as a Quake player. What do you think of Xantares' aim on his POV?
Yeah, he's got great mechanics. I think that's something that can be overlooked sometimes, is that even if you are a player even if you're someone that has a lot of talent, you don't necessarily have the best mechanics. You don't have the best sort of methods, and the way that you train, the way that you move your mouse might not be super efficient, but some people are just super talented. Like Simple is a good example of a player that's got incredible talent, but doesn't even need to have good mechanics. But if you combine the two, it's pretty special and it's very consistent. And
I have incredible talent, Dan, but bad mechanics.
And also if you have really good mechanics, it's something that if you take a break from the game, you can very quickly come back because you have all this understanding of these different methodologies and approaches as to how to have proper mouse control and good habits for success. So
you guys out there need to tweet Dan and motivate him to do more videos on mouse mechanics. We did one once on Face It. I don't know if it's up, but Dan has much to say and much to teach. So spam his Twitter, and maybe we can get something done. Calix trying to hold down this push now. He wants to stop a bomb plant if he can. He's done lots of damage. Oh, that would have been a huge frag. That would have made it a 2-on-2, and it would have been a rifle. Six still harassing, but that means there's only one person on the site, so the CTs might rush there. Cadian's now picked up an M4. He could be anywhere on this site, and Sick is rushing to help him.
Cadian in the corner, that's beautiful. Hardstyle never knew what hit him. His position, Cadian has given up now, and he's going to go with health and a gun, but no Kevlar. How does he do this? Surely the spacing's good. In fact, not even required. Paz takes him down by himself. Major finishes off Sick, and the defuse comes in. No problem at all. And Space Soldiers. I mean, from that first half, it looked like it was such a struggle. But if you look at the scoreline, this could go the way of Space Soldiers. Absolutely at this point.
That was a nice angle from Cadian on that last fight he took, because he had a shadow warning of his of the CT coming in from that construction position. But I mean, it started well for Space Soldiers, but now we're going to see buy rounds from Rogue. But again, 4 of their 5 players, it's really, you just really can't tell what's going to happen. Just got to watch. Just got to watch. Hardstyle on the MP9. Now, I wonder if this is, if we're just going to see SMGs from him so he can just strafe and spam because of lack of experience or whatever. We'll see how it continues to play out. Paz going for the information. See how he doesn't take the fight. Falls back instead to fight on higher ground, if you will. There's a nice 2-man, 3-man from Major. There's a 4th man to find, but he'll fall back towards Library. That's a great start for Space Soldiers.
Yeah, can't ask for much more than that. Beautiful stuff there from Major. 2 players to try to do some damage here for Rogue. Surely they can't find all that much more than that. Sick with a free one onto Hardstyle, though. And that'll be a 2 versus 4. Over a minute to play with. Vice with a good vantage point. Finds himself with Zantares around the smoke. And it's just too much here for Vice between Paz and Major. Major finishing off for the quad kill. Beautiful defense there by the Arch position, showing how it's done. And Rogue put down to low money now as a result.
That's huge. But imagine if Paz took those fights top mid and maybe got traded 1-for-1, then something else entirely may have happened in that round. So that's good stuff for the Space Soldiers side. That's a big win, and you have to wonder about motivation now. Rogue have to keep their heads above water. Not get too put off by the recent proceedings. Space Soldiers are nowhere near winning yet, so there is no cause for alarm at this time.
Rogue going for the burst onto the A site. Through the balcony they go. Hardstyle's the man that is close, falling back onto the bomb site. Position taken here by the T's, but Hardstyle will be able to take down Sick. That's the bomb also down. So many players though, so many CZs, and so much destruction. A 2 versus 4 retake. Do Space Soldiers want to entertain this? This is a difficult one. I mean, it is the deadly duo of Zantares and Calix, but there are players all over the shop.
You heard the grenade from sight. Avoids that. Cadian's on the flank though. Not going to waste any more time. Not sure if he saw the Arch player. Apparently not. But what can he do? Calix got a kit, but 1 versus 3. Surely he won't go for it. And Rogue are on the scoreboard in the second half. Round number 9 for them. The money isn't spectacular for Space Soldiers just yet, but we'll see what they choose to do. Maybe Eco Tower is not so much they can drop, and now it gets even worse.
And that's the strength of the balcony burst. If the CTs pick up setup, which is not super aggressive, but fairly aggressive. You have top mid control as the CTs, and you aren't wise to these players rushing the for the balcony through apartments. You are just out of position. Look how easy it was to have 3 players out of the balcony onto the pit position. Hardstyle's on the bomb site, almost by himself there. That's really difficult for any player to deal with. And so that's just a great read from Rogue, or a great call from Rogue. And this will destabilize Space Soldiers pretty enormously. Their money is not in a great spot.
Yeah. So let's see. Hardstyle's got $300. He spent 14, but I can't really see where it's gone unless it's on the floor. We will soon find out. Very interesting approach they've had. Again, I mean, I expected him to be the farm for the team. But I don't know how much farming he's done, really. I mean, we've seen him on SMGs and some gamble buys, but not much else. So, okay, so he's bought a kit, and he's dropped 2 CZs to his teammates, hardstyle. So again, I think he's just going to be... I think the plan is hardstyles on SMGs, which would say to me that the man doesn't play the game. But this is just speculation. So let's see what these CZs can do. 4 players towards B for Space Soldiers. Moving back, perhaps trying to avoid some HE, some Molotovs. And does this mean reset? I'm guessing it does, because the CTs are going to CT spawn, and the Ts are doing the same. So something somewhere I can assume has gone wrong, and they're going to ask for a restarted round. Okay, so we've been told that they are replacing a PC. Hardstyle having some kind of issue. So there may be a break for a while. So where do you see this one going, if anywhere?
Yeah, I think, you know, Counter-Strike matches can be described in many different ways. I think sometimes you can describe it as, you know, 2 teams playing at the top of their game, and it's just, you know, one team just playing so well in their game that they're able to sort of, you know, with something very flashy, defeat the other team that's playing super well, and it's really exciting in that way. I think we've got the reverse here. I think both Space Soldiers and Rogue are kind of struggling at the same time, and it's a question of who's making, you know, more mistakes. And so far, it's very difficult to predict. I think we're at a turning point, though. You know, Rogue are about to take economic control now into this T side. So from that perspective, I'm going to favor them. I think Space Soldiers will struggle from that thing that you mentioned previously, which is hardstyle. How does he fit into that CT defense?
Yes. So again, from the even early on here in the CT half, from the buying behavior of the team, it seems they're just trying to manage the situation as best as possible, which means the SMGs. So the advantage of the SMGs is that you can just strafe running, just aim at someone's head from a reasonable distance, whereas they have to track. So there are advantages to be had there, and that is seemingly how they want to implement hardstyle. But on the on the CT side, we'll have to wait and see. So he's standing up now. I don't know why they're asking for the like what kind of issue he's experiencing, but may not be so slow. I know they're using. I'm pretty sure they're using hot swappable SSDs, if I'm not mistaken. So fingers crossed it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah, those, you know, that as a concept is quite the godsend. You know,
how was it in your day, Dan?
Yeah, it wasn't always the case. So, but to be honest as well, you know, in the olden days, you also didn't really have, you know, the broadcasts weren't the same as well. Like, you know, a broadcast wouldn't necessarily, like, no one would care about the broadcast as much. But now it's all about synchronizing the broadcast to the action and making it this, you know, seamless flow, of course, you know, as it would be in any sport. But back then, you know, the games happened one way or the other, James. So I mean, if you want to dial back time into the early 2000s, if you wanted to broadcast a tournament, you had to pay to do that, because you had to, like, buy all your own equipment. You'd had to, like, convince them to give you the space, maybe buy some space, and buy your own sort of credentials and all this kind of stuff to actually, you know, broadcast a tournament. So it was a privilege to do it almost.
Yeah, very different times now. I never went to or really paid any attention to esports back in the day. I was just a pleb playing Scouts, Knives, and Aztec. So living blissfully. We had our own LAN though in Blackpool. We rented a hall and drove up there with the fog lamps on. So we blinded everybody on the highway. They couldn't see in their mirrors. So everyone was just like putting their warning thing on and just like moving lane and then honking at us. And we were like, why are they honking at us? And it was my fault because I was just pressing all the buttons at the front of the car.
Oh my God, James. Can't take you outside. Good thing you spend most of the time in darkened rooms casting Counter-Strike.
Playing and commentating. Yeah. I think I have 1,400 games on Faceit now.
Wow.
And I'm subscribed to four different hubs. Production is suggesting I only have 6 wins. That's not true. It is the 5th of September. I got my 10 wins mission yesterday, or the day before, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm a gamer.
It was cool too, like the dynamics of, broadcasts in a long time ago as well, because you would do it through Winamp, which was for those of you that don't know, it's just like a music player basically, and you'd have to get a plugin that would allow you to like delay the audio so you could synchronize it with the commentators. And then that was really cool because it felt like, and also you had like max slots on like a NHL TV server in which you would watch the game, or in Quake it would be the GTV server, so you'd have to have enough servers, and maybe you wouldn't have great routing to all of them because the internet sucked, so sometimes you'd have crazy packet loss, and that would almost be a part of the viewing experience, is that you'd have dropped sounds. So it would almost like be something which you would associate with watching a really incredible match. Is part of it became part of the experience. And we had all these like Twitch chats type memes coming out as well back then, where people would spam the chat like there was a Twitch chat before Twitch chat, in that sense. Like it was always meant to be, when you put all those gamers with anonymous gamer tags able to say whatever they want.
I used to when I used to be a fan of like Japanese mixed martial arts, like Pride Fighting Championships and so on, they didn't have there was no airing of it on UK television, and I didn't have cable or anything like that. So there used to be this thing called Pridecast, where a guy would put a microphone next to his TV, and then like hundreds of people would just tune in to listen to the TV broadcast, or some American guy at home would just be like, so now Rampage is doing this, and then like, and you just tune in just to listen to. That was so sick, though.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it felt like you were a part of something very special in that way, because not many people knew about it, and it's so incredibly niche. Was Pride too violent? Is it the one which had like no rules at all?
It had rules, but they were like you could knee to the head when people were on the floor.
Right,
that's
it.
So it wasn't do in other places.
Because K1 was like most
K1
rules.
was kickboxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, K1's kickboxing. So a lot of kickboxers would come over, but it was cool, man. But it was very underground. There was a forum called the Underground Forum, MMA.tv, and like Dana White used to post on there. Tito Ortiz, I think his name was Futa1 or something like that. He used to post on there, but then they got to a certain level where they can't post on there anymore because everyone's flaming them and whatever.
Yeah.
But it looks like that he is back on the server hardstyle, so we should be good to go very shortly. That was a quick PC swap. Okay, so at the end there you're seeing an accidental unplugging of earphones, but they've been plugged back in now. He's got a Christmas tree going on his keyboard as well. So we will very shortly be resuming. The score is 9-10 in favor of Space Soldiers, but Rogue won the previous round, and money's in a weird place for Space Soldiers. Now, previously, well, I'll wait till the round kicks off to see restore. Previously, Hardstyle, I think he dropped 2 CZs and bought a kit, but this time it seems a little different.
Well then, we're back into the match. So, to sort of highlight how things have been going, it's been a struggle, I think, for both teams. I think that Space Soldiers, we expect them to, with the stand-in, not have a good time here against Rogue. But Rogue, they're in a great position now. They've got the economy control, full nades, full AKs, and in a situation where they can, if they run a good anti-eco and don't take too many losses, they can start to hit that groove, run those routines, and they should be able to overpower Space Soldiers who are on the back foot just with pure routine and practice. And Rogue are a team that play pretty damn good team Counter-Strike, and they've got some good levels to their strategy and tactics. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out on this T side.
What will Rogue choose to do? Flash over the roof and a quick peek. Santares is... well, he has a CZ. Having looked through the apps, sees no one second mid. Does that mean a rotation? We see Hardstyle going deeper towards the B bomb site, and indeed, because they don't see anybody towards A. Ooh, they're going to start moving into the stack. Note how the CTs are not running up Speedway, because if somebody's by sandbags like Hiko is right now, he would hit him on Speedway as Santares is on the flank, but he's the only person between them and A, so he can't just engage to the depth. He's got to be a threat. And they will clean out most of the site now. Now they know one player's banana and one player's destruction. They'll position somebody to hold banana. That's sick. Timely smoke, and Santares has an AK. Really looking for that info. He's got to gamble though. This potentially winnable. Got to win that frag though. It's a rare miss from Sick.
Yeah, Xantares had no Kevlar. Oh no, he did have Kevlar. My bad. So yeah, that's a big damage around there, and it's very fortunate, I think, for Rogue that the timing had happened, that they just thrown all the grenades right before Xantares got that first pick off, because I think that really helps you as a team to avoid panicking and to just make the commitment into the B site, because that's one of the biggest problems when something like that goes wrong, because you get people suddenly starting to have indecision as to what is the overall plan here. What should we all be doing? All four players that remain need to make the exact same decision in that moment. And that's what these surprise flanks can really serve to do, is disrupt and create chaos and create a situation where suddenly those T players, maybe one or two of them are starting to like, oh my god, let's look at the flank, we don't all want to get flanked, and then the two guys in the front like, we just have to go, and then those two guys move in the front with a bad spacing between the other two players, and now all of a sudden they get killed and there's no trade, and then things go downhill. So everyone just has to be on the same page, and that's what happened there for Rogue. And 10 to 10, AWP is out for Major. Can Space Soldiers get this CT side under control?
Creeping up. Now we look to Rogue to deny information somewhere. A fake with a decoy. So Space Soldiers currently have comfortable vision on Banana, and they have vision of top mid with two players as well. So Rogue need to take something away from them. Ooh, that looks like it was on, but maybe it hit the corner of the other wall. Now that spamming will force Space Soldiers back, but will they head forwards once again? Major looks like he wants to, but he goes back to the side. They've got some information. Xantares has a look in Boiler, but the temperature's too high. So now we have denial of information for Space Soldiers. Paz is forced back. He doesn't have his teammate with him anymore. So Space Soldiers don't know what's going on top mid. They've been forced away from Banana. So Rogue are now in a much better position and have a man advantage.
Rikke making some noise towards B, just trying to delay any rotation to assist this A defense. That's some great damage spread across those players, but unfortunately it's just one left. On the bomb site, Calix can only get a single headshot as he goes down, and that's 3 men on that A bomb site with the bomb plant and Space Soldiers. Not too much they can do. Rikke, he did a great job. He's created a lot of presence towards that B site. He survived with full HP as well, no less. And those two B players, just no hope to rotate in time.
You saw Calix in the pit, standing his ground. He knew the Molotov was flying into his position, but there are so many players there. His teammate probably shouted at him, low, low, low. So he's like, okay, if I can take these players out, one, maybe two players, then the round becomes winnable, so I have to stand my ground here. He could fall to his left, try and fight around the hay bales and so on, and try and get 1v1s, but that was his time to fight. Didn't work out for him, and Rogue will take the lead. Looking like they'll have 4 players going into the next round, but Rikke may try to take another player out here, but or seems he'll be comfortable where he is, but might have been worth it. They've got money in the bank, Rogue, and Space Soldiers are on the back foot, but Rogue comfortable with where they are. So there is the peek from Xantares. He got the first one up as well, but Sick has the AK and the headshot. That's a big problem when you're a CT.
Yeah, that's some clean fragging there from Sick. He looks like he is in the zone at the moment, and that's really good to see for Rogue. Definitely one of the players who has the highest skill ceilings on the team. And if he's starting to get going, that does not spell good things for Space Soldiers in this game. Rogue starting things off with a spread, a 2-1-2 spread across the map, creating presence all over the place. And Space Soldiers don't really have too much to fight with here for them. And Rogue, it's about understanding where is this AWP. And they've discovered exactly where the AWP is. Now, is he going to rotate, or will he stand his ground? He goes back to the well, and it has been poisoned. He will die. And that is the AWP gone.
Yeah, nobody home on the B-bomb site now. See what Space Soldiers choose to do. Trying to charge into the site will probably be suicide if they can contain close range. Who knows? Maybe Rogue will overextend and give them an opportunity. You see Hardstyle taking an off angle in the construction area. Okay. So he's there on his own with the CZ, which is why he's looking left and right. And the rest of his team are towards A. So Hardstyle is very expendable. The rest will hold on to their Kevlar, CZs, and so on. All this can be used in the rounds to come. Calyx will be picked off, though. Having a look towards the bottom of mid. Oh. Okay, one player is here. He doesn't have a kit, but imagine if he did. There we go, round number 12 for Rogue. So it seems that Rogue have stabilized, and I don't know how much Space Soldiers will be able to offer them on the CT side.
Yeah, it's not going too well so far, and in this round they could have an AWP, but they would be sacrificing utility on that player as well as Kevlar, I believe. So opting to have a full rifle setup here for Space Soldiers, and one of the questions I'm wondering is, will they decide to go aggressive and actively take away some map control? Because one of the worst things you can do against a team that's very routined and drilled and has a very sort of deep playbook is just giving them a huge amount of control on the map for free, which just allows them to run drills. And here is the aggression. Shut down, though, by Cadian. That run by Xantares. He will not make it to the finish line. Oh, that is disgusting. Cadian taking down Major through the wall. You can't ask for a better start in a round than that. 5 versus 3 Space Soldiers. Do they just stack 3 on a site at this point? What do they do?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself. Is it even worth Paz? I mean, maybe he drops a smoke here and then falls back to A. Because saving with 3 at this point, they're heading towards max loss bonus, I believe. They are spread so thin now. You can see up top they've lost 4 rounds in a row, so they are indeed heading towards max loss bonus.
This is a call from Rogue too. You know, they get the 2 kills. You know, there are some teams that would just try to force the issue and run into that B site, even when your teammates aren't with you. Rogue, you know, they are confident. This is a show of confidence. They just wait. They group up. They see if there's a response from the CTs and aggression somewhere. There is not. And now they've got 40 seconds, which is ample time to make a decision. Still gathering information, and they could still go towards A if they'd like. And it looks like that's what they're doing here. The bomb is towards Banana still, but now it's starting to make its way up to top mid.
Will it rotate back, though? I do wonder. No, that would have been crazy. But here we are. So Calyx has been left to fend on his own. I think a full rotation one way or another would have been quite something. Trying to stop the bomb from being planted, he will get traded. And now his teammates are out of position, and of course they will be eliminated. So I think it was... I think you agree, you know, we just channel your energy on one of the 2 sites, drop the smoke towards B, and maybe try and sneak off and go towards A, because they have like 1 person B, the second person close-ish to B, like near construction, and then 1 person on their own A. Versus so many Rogue players, I think they're asking too much. So they lose a lot, and now it is eco territory for Space Soldiers. There's a replay of this headshot. Ah, he sees the jump as well. He saw a Major jump peeking just before, which maybe helped his lineup. HUD, please. There we go. Well, Rogue now are 3 rounds away from winning the first game of the Major Challenger stage. And that would be a fantastic start for them.
Yeah, definitely a good way to get some confidence going straight out the gates. Always feels good to start things off with a win, of course. Though it's not in their grasp just yet, but it is nearing. And Rogue, you know, again, what they have to do is just rely on that practice, the routines that they've set up through that practice, and you can see they're trying to get Cadian in a position here with his teammates to maybe get an opening pick if Space Soldiers are to try to peek this. You can see that they've not made too much noise until Cadian goes for the jump peek on the angle to see if he can pick somebody off. He's unable to do so, and that does force out the smoke from the CTs, but they surely can't have too many in a round like this. Sick probing top mid as well, keeping the pressure up. Because if they do have a bunch of smokes, you have to get rid of those early on.
There's the smoke on Arch. Paz has the remaining smoke, but he is on the A site now. He can put it down to kind of bait them into a default plant. and it should be a free kill for him. He will do exactly that. He does isolate the player in the pit, though. Hardstyle goes. 20 seconds left. Paz goes through the smoke, I think. Maybe expecting them to go around the smoke. It took a gamble. Didn't work out for him. Nice attempt there by Space Soldiers. Again, we often talk about these smokes. It's always easy to give the example of Astralis for almost everything in the game at this point. But nice to see some other teams employing similar things as well. Another round in the bag. Simple affair for Rogue. And now they are 2 rounds away. Should be a full buy for Space Soldiers, though. 7,900 for Hardstyle. Ooh. Going for the AWP. I was curious, like, so much money, surely not an SMG, but yeah, here we go. A full buy from Hardstyle. The only AWP. Where will he go with this? Will he be aggressive? I don't think that Space Soldiers can really allow Rogue to take the game to them. But then what can you do when you've got a stand-in?
Yeah, it would be cool. I have a point about the smokes in a moment. Just a cool idea. But before we get into that, obviously we've got what could be the very last good attempt here from Space Soldiers with this full buy, and Hardstyle's posted up with the AWP, flashed off the angle, responsible stuff there from Rogue. That's what you want to see. $200 and you've avoided a possible death. Definitely worth it. Although this setup on quad, we've got baiting, major baiting for Paz. Will Cadian be able to flush this out? Rogue do seem to really want to put this effort onto top mid. And this is where Space Soldiers could make the difference if they could survive.
There goes Paz. Major trying to hold the space, but the smoke will certainly help. A minute on the clock, and Space Soldiers don't have anybody on Banana, so again, they don't know what's going on. They've been denied information top mid. They have no information towards Banana. It is a guessing game. And this time they're going to go for the gamble rotate that maybe they should have done when they had 3 players left. Vice still peeking, well, not peeking, but lurking in apps, probably trying to cut off a rotation from the pit later on. Unbeknownst to Rogue, there are now 4 players on the B bomb site.
And there goes Calyx as well. Quick headshot coming out from Hiko, as Rogue seem undeniable. And at the same time, you know, we've got Vice, who's been lurking towards the balcony on the A side of the map. He's not really heard anything, and they're going to go for that A push. Really nice stuff. Cadian left there to keep harassing them. Space Soldiers, they have 0 information. It's very difficult for them to know. Like, are Rogue, you know, creating a bit of a delay here, and then going to go back in, trying to create doubt and make one of us rotate back to A, or are they running all the way back to A? It just becomes impossible to predict that. So, great stuff, good fundamentals, Inferno fundamentals from Rogue.
Yeah, that's really sad to see for Space Soldiers. I think the gamble rotation maybe came too late in this half, and now they are being hunted. They are a rare species, which may soon be extinct. It's Hardstyle with the AWP, but that's only his 3rd frag of the game, unfortunately. And Rogue are about to move to match point. They will hold on to this if they can. Major can try to help him if he doesn't peek too far. He's getting peppered. He gets jumped over the barrels, and Hardstyle will get taken out. And there is Major as well. That is... that's not good. Not good for Space Soldiers. And now it is forced by territory. Hardstyle will drop an M4 to a teammate. We'll see what he picks up in return. Match point Rogue, and they've got a few of them. So much money. You feel like they've barely been challenged. Sik and Rikke both just shy of $15,000, and he goes not far away from them either.
Here it is, the last try for Space Soldiers. It's not a good-looking try with the UMP and Famas out, but... Oh dear, oh no. Oh. Pass down to 42. Those walls are paper thin. And they are not deterred by that spam. They will continue to operate from the apartments. The battle of health bars is being absolutely going the way of Rogue now. Vice picks off Hardstyle. Now Xantares isolated in front of the Molotov. Rogue are just bleeding them out at this point. It's a slow bleed as well. Hiko will make his way forwards, covered by Cadian. Xantares with the play. And Calix will drop the smoke, and he'll prevent anyone coming in from B, but he's lost his teammate. It's a 4 versus 3 here. 45 seconds to go, and Rogue have Space Soldiers exactly where they want them.
One long and one short. Rogue not fully committing, maybe seeking a reaction. Sick making a solo play. Top mid and seeing nothing. That's a lot of rich information for him. He's got a flash as well, so we can enable this balcony burst, but the flash will do absolutely nothing. Not sure where it went. Paz gets 2 kills out of it. Can't reload just yet. Sick will trade him though. Major doing what he can, and now it's down to Calix coming in through CT spawn. 1 versus 2. Note how the bomb's planted safely, not on short where there's no cover. Planted in the site. Now, Calix doesn't have a kit. I'm not sure if his teammates did, if there's one around the A site. The Molotov, where does he think it came from? Did he hear it bounce off the wall? If it bounced off the wall, could tell him something. Sick has, oh, he's playing an off angle, so he's going to play the trade frag. But is this going to work out? Cadian spotted. Yes, Sick's head seen, and he sees his as well. And that is the match for Rogue. 16-10, they win the opening match of the Major.
Yep, a definite